the primary rules of inequalities are this. You have a greater than or equal to sign, and you have a greater than sign. Okay? So, greater than, equal to, and then greater than. And then you have the less than, equal to, and less than. So, less than, equal to, and then less than. Okay? And the things you want to remember about these symbols are that your lines are going to do some things. So this implies that you have a line, right? And whether the line is like this, it's going to, let's just use the same line for all of them. Okay, this line is positive slope, right? Now here's the thing. When you have this kind of an issue, then that implies that you have a solid line. When you have this type of an issue, that implies that you have a dotted line. Same thing over here. Equal to, solid. Less than, only less than, dotted. Okay? And on top of that, it implies that you are graphing a shade of some sort. When it's greater than, you shade up. So when it's just greater than, same thing, you shade up. But when it's less than, you shade down. Same thing here. We shade down. So how I kind of like to show that in condensed notes is I have these things where I say less than, equal to, greater than, equal to, less than, and greater than. And what this says is that I first just do solid, solid, dotted, dotted. And then I come out here and I say this is down, this is up, this is down, this is up. And what this tells me in shorthand, right, is this. So whatever you want to put on your notes, as far as like your cheat sheet, I really highly suggest you put something like this. Okay? All this is saying is that when I graph a greater than equal to, I make it a solid line. When I graph just a greater than or less than, it's dotted. When it's greater than, I shade down from the line. When it's greater than, I shade up from the line. When it's less than, I shade down from the line. When it's same thing here. It's the same thing every single time. If it's greater than, up. Less than, down. If it's equal to, solid. Okay? So, when we do have an equal sign, that just means I have a solid line with no shading, because the line is the only answers. But when we have greater than, all right, then if it includes the line, it would say equal to. If it doesn't include the line, it won't say equal to. So it's everything less than where that line is, or everything greater than where that line is. Does that make sense? Okay, so let's do one. Okay? So we'll do a couple. We'll do one over here in standard form. We'll do one easy one, and then we'll do a harder one. Y is equal to, or less than equal to, 2/3 x minus 2. Or minus 4. Okay? And then in this one, I'm going to do 3x minus 2y equals 6. Oh, I'm going to do greater than 6. Alright, so with this one, I'm going to make the line red. So right now I'm just going to make, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? So here's my y, here's my x. And I'm going to graph some points. So I'll graph the points in green. My point is y equals mx plus b. So I know this is b and I know this is m. So you start at b and go m away. From b. So where's b? Negative 4, right? That's the y-intercept. So negative 4 is my y-intercept. And from that point, I'm going to go m away from it. So I'm going to go 2, 3. What is it? 2/3. M equals 2/3. It's rise over run. That means I'm going up 2, 1, 2, run 3, 1, 2, 3. That means I'm there. So my line, and first of all, is it a line? Is it equal to? So it is equal to, right? So that means I have a solid line going through those 2 points. And then I say, okay, what is it? Less than or is it greater than? Less than. So do I go up or down? Down. So I start at my line and I just go down. That's it. Okay? So that's an easy one. This is a harder one. 2 reasons. Okay? And we're going to show you those reasons in a minute. Alright, so
when you're saying going m away?
Going m away just means I'm going away from b using m as my direction.
Basically, so you're starting at b and using rise over run on that?
To go from b, I'm using my m to tell me how to go from it. It's kind of like a map, you know? Okay, so with this one, we got...
And if it's on the paper, it's going to be like, give the inequality.
Yeah?
That's how it's going to be labeled. Give the inequality to y.
It'll probably say graph the inequality.
Okay, graph the inequality, all right.
Okay, so if I'm graphing this inequality, I've got to look at maybe solving it a different way. I could solve it 2 ways, right? I could solve for y and graph it, y equals mx plus b, or I can just do my x and y intercepts. Because this is in standard form, so standard form is nice and easy to just do x and y intercepts, right? Which is, I plug in a 0 for x, and I solve for y. I plug in a 0 for y, and I solve for x. Okay? So, let me kind of show that again. If I plug a 0 in for x, that means this goes away. And y is equal to negative 3. If I plug a 0 in for y, then this goes away, and x is equal to 2. How does that happen? Well,
3 goes into 6 2 times.
yeah. So if I'm doing this, negative 2y equals 6, then I solve negative 2, and I get y is equal to negative 3. Right? If I solve this, where the y goes away, then 3x is equal to 6, then divide by 3, divide by 3, and I get x is equal to 2.
So is that the way we're solving it, or can we, or is there?
This is another way to do it. This is your x and y intercepts. So what this is telling me is where it is on the y-axis, -3. Where it is on the x-axis, 2. How many points do I need for a line? 2. So it's just another way of drawing a line. Now here's the thing. Do I draw a solid line? Is it equal to? Is there an equal to sign? No. There's no equal to sign, so I need to draw a dotted line. Okay? This is a dotted line situation. It is greater than. Now, it's greater than, so I'm supposed to shade up, right? Here's the trick, though. There's a negative in front of the y. Okay? If there's ever a negative in front of the y, you do the opposite of what's happening.
What does that say?
If neg in front of the y, do the opposite. Okay? Here's the thing. Here's the thing. The reason why. If I were to solve this, right, then what do? I have 3x minus 2y equal or is less or is greater than or equal to 6, right? So I'm going to solve for y, because that puts it in y equals mx plus b form, right? So then I have minus 3x, minus 3x. So I get negative 2y is greater than or equal to minus 3x plus 6, right? So now what do I got to do? Divide by negative 2, divide by negative 2, divide by negative 2. And what does that do? When you divide an inequality by a negative, what happens? You have to flip the sign. Okay? When you flip the sign, everything changes. Right? So now, that's my equation of the line. Is this still matching? Negative 3, negative 3. Up 3, right 2. Up 3, right 2. So it still matches. It still matches. The problem is, right here, when I divided by a negative 2, I flipped the sign. So, an easy rule to remember is, if there's ever a negative in front of the y, do the opposite of what the sign says. If the sign says greater than, it's really... If the sign says greater than, then what happens is it's really less than. And if it's really less than, which direction do I go?
So,
Down.
is that the way to solve that problem? Or can you have done it that way?
Two ways to solve this problem. This way and this way. Okay? You can put it in y equals mx plus b form. Use your y equals mx plus b. Use your b. Bam. Use your m. Bam, bam. Done. Or start with the beginning. Now here's the thing. No matter what, if I divided by negative 2 and I didn't flip the sign, guess where I'm going to shade? Up. If I do this and I solve it this way, right? And I don't recognize that there's a negative in front of the y, which way am I going to shade? Up. Right? Because it tells me to shade up. So the key, what my main point here is, yeah, there's different ways to solve it. Go ahead and use this way. This way works just fine. If the x's are on that side. Hey, if the x is on that side and you got like 5y, divide everything by 5. And then you have y equals mx plus b. Okay? Because the thing here is, you have two ways to solve the problem. You have x's and y's on one side, or you have y's on one side and everything else on the other side.